guys, welcome to Slacker Gaming, where all slackers can game. If you are not already a part of the community, then hit that red subscribe button to become part of Slacker Nation. I've gotten a lot of questions in my streams asking how to hit well and how to constantly hit good every single game, no matter the pitch sequence, stuff like that. So I thought I'd make an episode on YouTube basically showing you what I do and how I prepare to hit better and hit better on higher difficulties. If you'd like to watch that, stick around. So the very first thing I can tell you that really helps with hitting is just practicing. I know they say it, practice makes perfect, but that's exactly what you need to do. Just practice, and I'll show you kind of the best way to actually do this practice. So first of all, you're going to pick your team, you're going to pick who you're going to go against. A lot of times I like to pick very good pitchers that are really hard to hit, and that way you're kind of already set up to succeed when you go into games. So we're going to pick a very good pitcher to go against, and then you're just going to pick someone that either you're good at hitting with. I know some people that actually move their players around and try to get them onto their team they want to hit with. They're Diamond Dynasty players, and then they can practice their swings, which is another thing I would suggest later on, but we'll get to that later. The first thing I'm going to tell you to do is just go in here and practice. Doesn't matter what field, doesn't matter what you're doing. Most of the time stuff is either, I would say most of the time it's in overcast, so I would do overcast. That way you can see the ball the same everywhere you go. And then we're going to enter practice, and this is where you're going to work on specific things. So what I normally do is when practicing, I want to get ready and hit the fastball no matter what. So in order to try to get fastballs almost all the time, might as well do 3-ball, no strikes, and that's going to give you a fastball most of the time. But you have to realize when you're playing online or when you're playing during Diamond Dynasty, franchise, anything whatsoever, you have to adjust to the fastball. You have to look fastball. Otherwise, it's just like real life. A real batter comes up, they look fastball no matter what. There's other situations where they might be looking something else, but those situations are usually when they strike out. You see them swing at way too late on a pitch or something like that. So we want to make sure that we can hit a fastball and hit a good fastball. So good pitcher on the mound, you can kind of mess around with this if you want to see lefties. If you struggle against righties, kind of just set that up to that. So like Cole, a good right-handed fastball guy. So we're going to go ahead and hit with wit. And then what I'm going to do, and it depends on what you play on what you feel comfortable with until you get better at it, and then slowly move up your hitting difficulty. If you play on dynamic, then I would stay on dynamic. It's going to be where you're at. Most of the time I like to play in Hall of Fame, Legend, that type of thing. So what I would do first is start on Hall of Fame, maybe bat for 10 minutes or something, and then once you're kind of warmed up, you're feeling really good on hitting those fastballs, then move it up to Legend, and that's when you actually, I feel like, learn how to hit. And I will show you how this later will play into effect for Diamond Dynasty. We're going to go ahead and do the Hall of Fame. We want to just take a couple of cuts, want to get used to it. Right down the middle, there you go, 97. So we want to make sure that we can catch up to this fastball. Chances are these fastballs are going to be kind of close to the middle. Because of that 3-1 count, you really have to pay attention to kind of where you're throwing. So a 3-0 count, you're really going to get those fastballs. Selecting those plays, you can either do your own play or however you want to do it, but what I like to do is put it on repeat play, 3-0. So every single time you're going to come up, it's going to be 3-0. Let's do Gordon. He's got kind of a smaller, and we want the righty-lefty matchup. So this, again, if you're struggling with right-handed thrower with a right-handed batter, then pick your batter as a left or a right-handed guy. If you're struggling with lefty versus lefty, again, batter left, pitcher left, and just make these plays. And this is how I think the easiest way of doing it. You got that 3-0 count. You know it's probably going to be something over the plate. So it's just getting used to hitting that fastball, getting used to getting ahead of it or behind it, or however you want a certain player to hit. Right now we're on Hall of Fame, and what I normally do is I spend about 10 minutes playing on Hall of Fame, trying to get my contact down. I was a little early on that one, but the PCI was right on it. And that's exactly what I do. Because it is a play over and over again, it's going to constantly throw you 3-0 counts. So chances are, sometimes, like, you just saw there, sometimes they're changeups. Most of the time they're fastballs, and they're kind of right down the middle. So it's about adjusting your PCI in the correct place and getting good contact on that. And that's exactly what you're going to do while it's on Hall of Fame. Now, once you are adjusted and hitting well on Hall of Fame, this is where it's going to get harder. And this is what I normally do before I play on Diamond Dynasty games. And the reason I do this is because if you can hit on Legend, everything else for you is going to be in slow motion. And so what I like to do is I like to practice on Legend, because this is the fastest fastball you will see. You are also going to have the smallest PCI that you can have on Legend. So you're gonna, if you can get out of Legend where you're feeling very, very, very confident hitting, and you're kind of used to fastballs, you're really getting ahead of them, you're really hitting well, and your PCI is pretty close to spot on. I mean, it's not going to be spot on every single time. That's just not realistic. Even the best players don't go perfect PCI every time. But if you can get kind of where you're getting, maybe I would say 1 or 2 out of 5 perfects on the fastball, I usually go and adjust to the 0-0 count, 0 outs, because now you're kind of learning to adjust at stuff with the Legend difficulty. So right now you're kind of just seeing fastballs because that's what you're looking for. Every single time they throw it, you're looking for that fastball, whether it be down the middle, whether it be up in the zone, whether it be inside, outside. You're learning to adjust to the fastball, and that's mostly what they throw in this count. Now, once we get to the 0-0 count, we are going to learn how to adjust to anything and everything being thrown. So we're going to learn to adjust to fastballs down. We're going to learn to adjust to changeups down, changeups up. All that stuff we're going to learn to adjust to. But the best option you have at the beginning is to get those fastballs as fast as possible. And Legend difficulty is going to be what you're going to need to learn on to basically propel your game. So as I said, we are hitting well. We're done with that. So let's go ahead, put these down to 0-0. And now you're going to basically be playing 0-0 count. Now we're going to have to adjust to every single pitch thrown. Again, look fastball. Adjust accordingly. Look for that fastball every single time. Just be ready to hit it quick and then adjust to it. You saw that had a little loop on it. You know it's going to be something slower than a fastball. Slider it is. I topped over it. I was also early on it, but that's how you adjust to the fastball. Just look fastball, and then as you're reading it, fastball, there it was, fastball right down the middle. You just have to get used to it. But the fact that you are in Legend and you are learning how to hit on Legend, this is going to speed your bat up. This is going to help you recognize pitches quicker and kind of get your brain focused for the pitches that basically that night. And what I do is I do this for 20-30 minutes maybe, and the rest of the night it seems like I'm kind of in lockdown mode. I don't know if it's just how I bat. I don't know if this is practice as actually what helps do it. I feel like doing this before I have better nights hitting than the nights when I don't. But this is basically going to help you hit the best you possibly can. Now, if you're someone that cannot hit on Legend, then don't hit on Legend. Do this on a difficulty that you struggle with. So say you're normally on All-Star. Play on All-Star, get kind of used to it, and then switch over to Hall of Fame. That's going to make it harder for you to hit. And then, hey, once you start hitting pitches on Hall of Fame, then go in and do it. Because what you want to do is you want to do the best you possibly can with a difficulty that is pushing you to your limits. Once you adjust from Legend to another difficulty, like if you play Diamond Dynasty, it's usually on All-Star or Hall of Fame. If you go from Legend to Hall of Fame, you're going to be reacting so much quicker. And that's exactly what you want. You want that fast reaction so that you can basically be ahead of the ball and have the PCI in a perfect spot. Because if you can hit on Legend, if your PCI is basically on spot every time, then when it slows down, you're going to be there that much faster, and you're going to have the ability to swing ahead, which most batters are pull hitters. So you're going to be able to crank home runs and all that stuff with your PCI and with being ahead in the ball. And what I've noticed is that This usually lasts for about 3 or 4 hours before I feel like you're locked in and you're kind of fading. So what I do is I go on Legend for about 30 minutes, and that kind of sets you up with your speed, with your hand-eye coordination, reading pitches quickly. And then for about 3 or 4 hours, I can play on All-Star without any problems at all. I hit very, very well. There does become a point where you do slow down to All-Star. You get kind of in the groove where you're just swinging basically free-handedly. You're not really reading pitches anymore. Everything's so slow. You're kind of just swinging at random stuff like that. And that's when you're kind of either need to call it good or even go back to practice. If you're going to play for longer than that and you really want to perform well, you almost need to go back to practice, raise it back up to Legend, get back in that kind of groove and that reading pitches quickly and all that stuff, and then hop back in the Diamond Dynasty. I know a bunch of people that do that, and it just amazes me every single time I watch them play Diamond Dynasty. They're perfects almost, probably I would say 1 out of every 5, 1 out of every 10 hits they hit is a perfect. And that's exactly what I like to do before I start any of my online games. And even sometimes if you're playing like a March to October or something like that, where you're really needing to play well in the playoffs to get that World Series victory, this might be something you do as well. This is basically if you want to perform at the highest of your abilities and with the players that you have, this is the best option, I think, in order to do that. And that's just to be going into practice and play on Legend or play on a difficulty that actually pushes you to your limit. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the hitting tutorials and stuff that I kind of showed you on what to look for to hit better than you already are. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you hit the big thumbs up. Also, feel free to hit that red subscribe button. I'll be coming out with a pitching part to this, showing you how to pitch above what you are already pitching and make you a better pitcher at MLB The Show 20. Till next time, Slacker out.